of the last 50 years. She's just at home playing James Bond's boss, the Queen of England, or a Lady of Cranford.
Mary, dear. You were so grown. So very like your dear mamma.
Are you sure my coming is not a trouble to you?
Trouble? It is a joy to us that your stepmother can spare you. Now that there are so many little Smiths at home. 4 already. 5.
Well, when we met up at her home, Dame Judi was too modest to mention even that she'd just been voted Best Actress Ever by Stage magazine. I began by asking her about her new memoir and the early days. Had she always wanted to act?
No, I never thought I was going to be an actor. I only ever wanted to be a designer, a theatre designer, because I drew all the time. And that's what that's what I thought it was going to be. Mm. And then by accident, I just thought I would try for the Central School where my brother had been, and I got in. Mm. But I went in quite a half-hearted way.
And then, in the early years, just lots and lots and lots of watching from the wings and learning on your feet.
Yes, I went straight to the Vic to play Ophelia, and I think I got 1 or 2 good notices. 1 good notice from Kenneth Tynan, I remember, but everybody else said, oh, how dare they, the so-called National Theatre of Great Britain, get this schoolgirl. Anyway, didn't matter, because I did learn. I walked on as well in the season, and I was there from 57 to 61. And so I played lots and lots and lots of Shakespeare.
I am a spirit of no common rate. The summer still doth tend upon my state, and I do love thee. Therefore go with me. I'll give thee fairies to attend on thee, and they shall fetch thee jewels from the deep, and sing whilst thou on pressed flowers dost sleep.
Of the roles, perhaps, that certainly some of your friends were surprised by, Cleopatra would be one of them.
Oh, yes, not just my friends, just total strangers. Mm. Openly hostile. They were. Looked me up and down. Oh, really? Cleopatra. But I just absolutely... That's what I like best.
And it was a fabulous... I mean, that was a great breakthrough success for you, Cleopatra, wasn't it? It was one of the roles that really...
People openly were derisive of the idea. Completely openly. But Peter Hall gave me 2 wonderful notes, which I'll never forget, and I pass on to actors all the time. And he said, one thing is, don't try to play all the character in every scene. Just play an aspect of the character in each scene. Yes. And by the end, if you're lucky, you might have added up to the whole thing. And he said, don't believe everything that everybody says about you. Because, I mean, if you look at Ina Barbas's speech, the barge she sat in and everything, you think...
Cleopatra, yeah.
Crikey. But, you know, he said he's back in Rome, and he's gone drinking with his friends, and they've said, OK, what's she like?
Yeah.
And he then goes off into a kind of fantasy, enjoying himself, saying, oh, well, you could smell the perfume from the boat and everything. You know, that's crap, actually. Yeah. He's just making it up.
And I suppose another one that might have been unlikely would be Sally Bowles in Cabaret.
Yes. Because
you were not an enthusiastic singer, or
I'm enthusiastic, but that's not the point, though, Andrew, is it?
No.
Being good. No, enthusiasm, yes. Yes, well, you know, that's another terrific note I had from Hal Prince. He said, you must remember that in a musical, if you speak in one voice, you mustn't stop it to sing in another.
When it comes to the sort of television years, as it were, an astonishing thing happened to you with A Fine Romance, where you're actually playing against your husband, yes. Michael Williams. Very unusual to be... And I would imagine
together.
Quite difficult to be sometimes, because the relationship is there and then it's back at home again.
I know.
Back in.
And Michael was very critical. Michael was absolutely wonderful about saying, you know, he would say what he thought. And when we were asked to do it, Trevor Nunn said, oh, you mustn't do that. He said, that won't bring any bums on seats. He was absolutely wrong.
So you have a huge reputation in the theatre, big reputation on television, but it's the role of M, I suppose, in the Bond films, which suddenly catapults you a kind of stratospheric superstardom somewhere up there.
I don't know whether it was M or it was Mrs. Brown.
Oh, well, Mrs. Brown was a fantastic role.
Because Mrs. Brown was made for television.
Yes.
We did it in 30 days.
Yes.
And as Queen Victoria, I think I had 1 dress, but a lot of jewellery and a lot of lace collars and things.
Honest to God, I never thought to see you in such a state. You must miss him dreadfully.
You do not. He. Get him out! Get him out! Get him out! And that was made for television, and then Harvey Weinstein saw it and said, no, we must release this as a film. Because I had done Bond before that, but when I got to America, everybody used to say, and have you done anything else besides James Bond and Mrs. Brown? So, you thought...
A few years of
it's
this
the
and that.
whole canon of Shakespeare, practically. A bit of Ibsen, a bit of Chekhov, David Hare. But it was good. It was good. I mean, it's very nice, because everybody in India, I've just been to India, and everybody in India knows about James Bond.
Yeah.
So you're doing a scene in the street with everybody coming, and somebody suddenly says in the middle of a shot, I know you, this person says, points at you.
Well, it's quite interesting being a female real authority figure.
Well, if you get
you're the one
to
who
boss James Bond,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Do you think, reflecting that you have been lucky in being super famous, stratospherically famous, later in life? In other words, a lot of people sort of become incredibly famous with their first role at 2022, and then the rest of life is a sort of struggle to live up to those early years, whereas you've been given it when you're in complete control of your craft and you know exactly what you want to do and you've got the power to take the roles you want.
I don't know, I'm just aware when you ask me that question of how hard it is now because of the cutbacks in the arts and because of theatres closing, and how hard it is for young students to come through a drama school and then have any kind of chance to then make their mistakes. And it seems to me that now you've got to make a success at something quite early on. And where do you do that?
Yes,
I mean, it's so unfair.
And we're going to go through, clearly, a very tough few years.
Yes.
So for people kind of watching who worry about the theatre and worry about actors, what would your message be? Just go out there and spend the money on tickets, support local theatre?
Please go and see. Because there's nothing, I mean, was it Tony Guthrie that said, or Orson Welles said, you go to the theatre because this is a night that the person might fall off the wire. That's what... and people said... Somebody said to me once, does the audience make any difference? Do they make any difference? If they don't make a difference, I'll be home here with my feet up the chimney. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like live theatre. You can be cut to pieces in television and you can be cut in a film. You go to a film, you think, where was that rather good scene I did? And oh, no, it's in a reel on the what's-name's floor.
Yes. Speaking of which, you're sitting at home, I think it was last night, and the phone rings. This is the life you live, and it's Clint Eastwood on the phone. True. Yes.
Not 12 hours ago.
Not 12
Clint
hours.
Eastwood on the phone.
Fantastic. There's a possible role?
I am going to make a film with him in February.
Fantastic.
Isn't it?
Oh.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm absolutely thrilled.
Yeah. And in terms of the future, are there specific ambitions, or are the roles just coming and it's still a question of what I take and what I turn down? And
the most diverse thing I can possibly do, from the last thing I did, is the thing that attracts me most. People are very inclined, after you've played one kind of thing, to keep sending you that kind of script, saying, oh, this is, in actual fact, that's probably the last thing you want to do. And recently I said, well, why can't I find a play about an Afghan woman who comes over here and learns to walk the tightrope and then turns into a dragon before our eyes in the last act? And I had a letter from Thelma Holt saying, oh, this can be arranged. It can be
funny you
written
should say that.
Yes.
Judi Dench, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
A rare interview with Dame Judi Dench. She didn't do any broadcast interviews here when her autobiography came out 3 months ago. And if you are wondering about that Clint Eastwood film, I can confirm that Dame Judi will be playing opposite Leonardo DiCaprio as J. Edgar Hoover's mother in a big-budget biopic about the notorious FBI director. And for a slightly longer version of the interview, including Dame Judi's